Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a... Oh, wait, wrong franchise. What's going on, everybody? S.L.B coming at you with another video review, and this time we're taking a look at Generation Toy GT-08C Bulance. They call him Bulance, but we call him First Aid. And before we get into the figure, let's take a quick look at the packaging. They are changing their packaging up a little bit here. They are not going for the artistic rendering of the figure, they're going for actual product shots, which is kind of a bummer because I enjoyed the artistic take on it. I know a while, like right before Streetwise came out, they actually did a video of the artist drawing it and posted it on YouTube, and I actually found that very interesting. That's just me though. If I can find that video, I'll leave a link to it in the description down below. But let's get into the packaging. Like I said, product shot here and there. Top of the packaging just says Generation Toy. Bottom of the packaging, made in China. Nothing on this side. Nothing on this side. Back to packaging just has warning. 15 years old or older. Recycled. Don't eat anything in the packaging. And it's your simple basic slip packaging, but this one for some reason is super tight. Let's just slip that off. Come on. A little bit faster now. A little bit faster now. There we go. And you just have Generation Toy on the front there. They don't do a schematic of the head sculpt anymore, which I think is kind of a bummer, but that's just my opinion. Nothing on this side, nothing on this side, nothing on this side, nothing on this side. Generation Toy on the back, and that is it for the packaging. Let's get him out and see what he looks like in hand. So here we have Bulance out of the packaging. Before we get into the figure, let's go over what's included, just like we always do. Included in the packaging is your obligatory instruction sheet here, which were kind of helpful. I do appreciate that. And we get a cool little thing at the end here. Where is it? Hold on. Ah, look at that. We get instructions for combine mode finally. So we've got First Aid there, going into combine mode. That's not the cool part. We got this fun stuff all right here for combine mode. We finally get some semblance of what to do with everything, which is really cool. Thank you for that. Also included in the packaging is his teeny tiny little itty bitty little blaster here, which is done in white plastic. Handle is grayish plastic. Tip is painted silver. Top is painted silver. Really nice. This does not slide out, so that's kind of a bummer because he has a little itty bitty teeny tiny little blaster. Look at that. Oh, he's so cute and tiny. Look at that. I would have liked it if they kind of would have put like some black paint here just to kind of mirror the other side because you've got the screw right there, but that's just me. And there is storage for this in vehicle mode. I'll go over that in a second, so put this off to the side. Also included in the packaging is this guy here, which is a trailer. And it's kind of interesting why they would give you a trailer with an ambulance. And I did a little bit of digging. Really the only things I saw and can think of are some ambulances or police have a trailer for extra equipment or horses. So that's really the only thing I can think of with this, why they would include this, minus the combiner bits that come into this. I thought that was really interesting and really genius of them, in fact, to include this. And I'll go over why when we get into combined form, because seeing these things in the combiner components really got me excited for this figure. And, you know, it's your standard trailer. Got some silver paint, some red paint for the cross right there. Plastic, oh, plastic, no, maybe rubber? I can't tell. But nice mold on the treads there. Rolls very well, squeaky wheel, very nice. Some silver paint back here as well. Some clear plastic for the windows. You can kind of see in there a little bit there, but needless to say, I think it looks really good. I like it, you know. There is a way to attach this to this. Let's get into that. All you gotta do is kind of flip this down like here, kind of split the back a little bit, and this will plug right into here. And let's see if I can do this on camera, because I don't tendency not to do this kind of stuff on camera because I have sausage fingers, but let's give it a shot. And There we go. So there you have that. Close that back up, get that pegged in, and there you go. And now he can drag the trailer, which I think is, this really blows me away. I mean, this is actually really cool. And there's a hinge right here, so you can have him look like that. I mean, the look of that is so real world that I think that's what makes me so giddy about it. I'll get into more of that when I get into my final thoughts, but let's just take him off here and disconnect the trailer. And we're back with the trailer here. And let me just show you really quickly the weapon storage. You gotta flip that up, flip it up one more time, and there's a peg right there. Not the side with the screw, but the other side. Pegs into there. Nice tight fit. Fold that down, plug it in, hopefully. Hopefully. Just kind of wiggle it around. Things get unpegged. There we go. There you go. Just like that. The mirrors out. And there you have weapon storage. Hooray for weapon storage. Does not hinder mobility at all, although it is one of those instances where if you don't have it in there quite right, it will hinder the front tires. Same goes for the transformation like it did right now. Yep. Let's bring that back down like that. And there you go. So let's move on to the look of the figure, and I think this looks great. This is a little mistransformed. That's probably why it wasn't rolling very well. There we go. All right, so let's get into the look of the figure. Some smoky plastic here, clear plastic for the front windshield. You can still see inside there. Excuse me, still see inside there, which is, I would have maybe liked a little bit of darker tint in the front there. Some blue paint here. This piece is actually removable. It's not supposed to be. I'll glue it in there later on. This just pops up every now and then, which is kind of a bummer. I also would have liked it if the ambulance was actually backwards like it's supposed to be in real world. That's just a minor nitpick of me. Got some silver paint right here, which kind of resembles the Nissan logo a little bit, not Ford, but this kind of looks like a Ford van that I've seen when I was doing these research as to why it would have a trailer. Mirrors here can move, can pivot. And they're not a soft plastic, they're a little bit harder, so just be mindful of that when transforming them. Make sure you fold them in so that way they're not going to break on you. Some red paint throughout, some silver paint, a little bit of yellow. Looks really nice, really good. I like the little greeble bits all throughout here. Same thing on the back here, some blue and red paint, some nice silver paint right there. Some red paint for the brake lights. Again, nice molded detail here. You grab Mr. Pointer Spudger here. There are some places for not rivets, but just some parts that are poking out, which I do like. I just wish they were painted. The same color silver is up here and around, but that's just my nitpick. And it's the same on the other side. Top of the vehicle, as you can see here, some yellow paint, a little bit of molded detail throughout. Got some rivets right here and some silver paint. There you have that. Underneath, basically, he's not a shell former. Let me tell you this right now, he's not a shell former, which I think is a good thing. But you got some painted details underneath here. You got these bits here to kind of mimic exhaust, some gold paint all throughout as well. And the tires are painted silver, and I want to say they're rubber tires. They feel rubberish, but they're not really adjustable. Like, it's not like you're going to be able to rip them off. So that is pretty much it for vehicle mode. Let's get him right here, and let's get into some comparisons. For comparison, here he is next to Transformers Combiner Wars First Aid. Here he is next to TFC Toys Red Cross, or their version of First Aid. Here he is next to Generation Toys Sarge, their version of Streetwise. Motor, their version of Groove. And Katana, their version of Blades. Just to give you an idea of how the whole team is shaping up. And here he is next to Transformers G1 First Aid, because it's the Protectobots, and I gotta have me the Protectobots. That will do for vehicle mode. I'm not gonna go into combined form. I'm gonna save that for when we do the overall combiner mode, which after getting this guy, I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to their version of Hotspot. So let's get Bulance into robot mode and see what robot mode looks like. So here we have Bulance in his robot mode, but more on that when we get into final thoughts. First off, let's take a quick look at the figure himself. So let's bring him in close so we can take a look at that head sculpt, and that head sculpt is beautiful. It is First Aid in a nutshell. Is it IDW First Aid? Not really. Although with some modifications, you can make the head sculpt a little IDWS, maybe some paint, but really it's not. It's a more stylized look. But I do love the look of that head sculpt. Let's get in close. Look at Mr. Pointer Spudger here. Some gorgeous clear blue plastic for the eyes here. Some nice silver paint for the mouth guard here. Some molded detail throughout the crest and crown right here. Could use a little bit of panel lining, but you know, you can do that yourself. And just the overall profile looks very good. Not a lot of detail in the back here. And you got the screw hole right there, but it's nice looking nonetheless. And looking over the entire figure, shoulders here got a little bit of silver paint. Oh, wrong way. Got a little bit of silver paint here and here. And the overall chest is very good. I love the way they integrated the tires into the chest cavity here. I think that's a really ingenious bit of engineering. And we got some differentiating silver paint through here. You got some shiny silver paint here. You got some gunmetal gray throughout here. I guess that's what I meant. You got silver and gray. And they kind of contrast each other where it makes it look good, in my opinion. Got some gold paint, a little bit of gold paint right here in the ab section. Some silver paint, lower abs, some gold paint here throughout as well. Silver paint in the waist section, crotch section, silver paint, red right there. Arms are done really nicely. Generation Toy got a thing for these panels on the arms. I'm telling you, every single figure they've put out for this line, they've got this giant panel on the forearm. I don't get it. More on that in final thoughts. Going down, red plastic for the thighs, got some silver and gunmetal gray in the knees section here. And if you open it up, you got a little bit of can't even make out what color that is. It's like a really brownish yellow right there. And he mistransformed himself. That inside the leg, you got a little bit of gold paint here. And the feet are done very nice as well. You got some silver paint and some white plastic on the bottom there. And the back, you do have a backpack, unfortunately. It's not just a giant slab of the ambulance kind of thrown on the back here. It's broken up, it's folded, it's put into place there to, yes, it's a backpack, but it serves a purpose by filling out the back a little bit here. In this upper section up here, got some gold paint, some silver paint, and some gray plastic throughout here. And you got some molded detail in this, I don't even know what section you would call this. It's not the butt, it's kind of like the lower back. This could have used some paint as well, just to kind of bring this out a little bit and kind of make it stand out a little bit there. But the legs clean up very nicely, no kibble on them whatsoever. Looks very good all throughout. And we'll get into this when we get into final thoughts. So let's move on to articulation. Articulation-wise, let's kind of get them centered here. The head is on a hinge right here. It can look up that far, it can look down that far. It's also on a mushroom peg, so it can do a full 360 right there. Shoulders can go out that far there. Nice range right there. And they can do full 360 on a very super tight, super squeaky joint. Be mindful of that. Bicep swivel right there. Very tight bicep swivel, I should say. Good range of movement on the elbow, gets you over 40 degrees without breaking the mold right here. The wrist is on a swivel. That's on a mushroom peg and full 360 right there. And the fingers are, index finger is separate from the other three fingers, so you can get a trigger finger and all that. And if you'll be noticing, that's a QC issue with mine, is the arm right here is very loose. That's why I'm going with the right arm. The left arm, I should say, not the right arm. Been an ongoing thing with Generation Toys figures is some things just aren't passing the QC. And that's kind of a nitpick I have for this line. So, and let's move on to the waist. The backpack does not hinder the waist articulation, so you can get a full range right there. No ab crunch, but you do get a sideways crunch. That's mainly for combination. The hip skirts can move out of the way. Let's get these out of the way right forward. Not that far. Right about there is all you can get. And that's just due to the way the mold is for the hip skirt and the way the hips are placed. Oh, I forgot to mention there's a nice gray line throughout our thigh here with some silver paint right there. Looks very good. Sorry about that. It's on a universal. You get a little bit of range right there. Knees can get that far. Full range right there, which is very good in my opinion. But Generation Toys, it kind of mistransforms itself when you do that, so just be mindful of that. Feet, no bend whatsoever in the feet, unless take this little panel here, and because there's a little notch right there that goes into the hole right there, and you can get a little bit of rocker forward and back right there, as well as some ankle braking pivot action right there, and the heel can move up and down as well. So let me take him off camera and fix his leg right here, and we'll be right back. Wha-bam! All right, there he is, pretty much all done there. Let's grab his little blaster here. Let's just flip out the handle. Let's put him in the loosey-goosey arm. It's your standard peg slot in hand right there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's there, trust me. Yeah, it's very difficult to do off camera. There. Look at that. Oh, that's scary tight. And unfortunately, this is not a tight fit, but the hands are tight enough to hold it. So just be mindful of that. It's not going anywhere, but the peg could use a little bit of gumming up to kind of tighten that. Whew, man, that's scary. Let's push him off to the side here and get into some comparisons. Actually, let's push him right here. Here he is next to Transformers Combiner Wars First Aid. Here he is next to TFC Toys Red Cross, or their version of First Aid. And here he is next to Transformers Generation 1, or G1. Here he is next to Generation Toys Protectobots. Here he is next to Sarge, their version of Streetwise. Motor, their version of Groove. And Katana, their version of Blades First Aid. That is pretty much it for comparisons. Let's get him into a final pose and get into some final thoughts. So let's get into some final thoughts for Generation Toy Bulance. Right off the bat, they could have picked a better name, honestly. Siren, maybe? Let's talk about the vehicle mode. I like the way the vehicle mode looks. I'm a little confused as to why they picked that body style. Maybe it's more Japanese body style than American. No, I'm not racist. But that kind of came up in my overall thinking when I'm looking at the vehicle mode. Like, why do they pick this body type? And as far as scale goes, I'm not quite sure it scales with their version of Streetwise. It all depends on what scale is to you. I'm not going to be keeping him in vehicle mode. I'll be keeping him in either robot mode or combined mode. And as far as I'm concerned, I think it scales pretty good with the rest of the MP line. And the one thing I particularly enjoy and like about this is the trailer for the ambulance. Like I said earlier, it's that real world application that kind of sets this above other versions of this figure. Who would have thought that a trailer could enhance a figure more than Optimus Prime's trailer or Motormaster's trailer? The one thing I really would have enjoyed is, besides it having a purpose in combined mode, is if it had a purpose in robot mode as well. Repair bay, battle station, place to store all of their weapons. Something like that would kind of enhance the playability of this figure and display options with this figure. Let's get into robot mode now. Let's talk about the big issues I have right now. QC and tolerances. This thing should have gone through QC numerous times. The tolerances on the shoulders are super tight, and on my left arm, my right arm I should say, that could have used a little bit of gunking up and tightening up. And those have been kind of nitpicks of mine throughout this entire way with each figure, is tolerances and QC. It's not like Bulance here has clear plastic pegging into clear plastic and all that stuff. It's the backpack again. It's just like on Streetwise. It doesn't really stay in all that well. The pegs are either too short or the engineering is off a little bit, and it's kind of hard to keep it in place. And speaking of the backpack, I think that bottom section could have used a bit more paint, especially if it's going to be noticeable in, say, combined mode. I think that little added detail of paint would kind of make the greeble and the molded detail stand out a little bit more. And I am just thoroughly confused as to why each figure has these panels on the arms. It makes no sense. You could have just as easily engineered those panels to fold over, especially on Bulance here, because they stick out like a sore thumb. There's no hinge on them to make them fold around the forearms or anything like that. But let's go on the plus side. Let's talk about the good things about this figure. The proportions are excellent. The paint is great. I especially love it in the chest section, and I like the way they engineered and added those tires to fill out those gaps and kind of make it look like the tires were more integral to just the look of the figure and not just there as kibble hanging off. And I know from past videos, I've seen the comments, I'm in the minority when I say I like this line. The Protectobots are one of my favorite combiners, and I love the stylized look of them all. And as of right now, this is the closest thing we're going to get to an MP Protectabot set. So beggars can't be choosers. Does this get me excited for their next one? It's got me a little worried for all the QC issues that I've had and the fact that it's not up for pre-order yet. As of today, I hope it's not a year until we get it. I'm just saying. But with the fact that the trailer for the ambulance fills out the legs, that's got me a little bit excited. And on that note, I'm going to end this video review. This is S.L.B, and this has been my review of Generation Toy GT-08C Bulance. If you like this video, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Hit that thumbs up button, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit that notification bell to get notified when I post videos. Hit me up on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. All three of those links will be in the description down below. Again, this is S.L.B. It's been my review of Generation Toy GT-08C Bulance. And this is S.L.B. saying, stupid notifications on my phone. I'm trying to do a video review.